Coding Made Easy.
So what's up everybody, this is Peter aka Coding Made Easy coming to your next Libgdx tutorial. And in this tutorial we are going to be learning about some mouse and some we're going to be looking at some mouse input and some phone input, mouse and mobile input. So what we're going to do is we're just going to jump right into it. So in between the sprite batch begin and sprite batch end, we're going to say if gdx.input.isTouched, and if it is true, then we are just going to put our sprite batch. We're going to say screen touched, and we're just going to put 0 0. And if we run this program, if you run this on your in the desktop, any button you press on your mouse, it will show the text screen touched, and no matter how long you hold it, it will stay up there. And same thing if you run on your Android or your iOS device. When you touch the screen, you will see the message. You should see the message pop up. I didn't test it on it, but it should work. The isTouched method works for the desktop and for the Android. If you run into any problems, please let me know. Now what if we, as you notice, when we run this program, let me run it again, no matter how long we hold it for, it stays up there. But what if we just want to detect single touch input? Well, there is a method called just_touched, and it just takes it triggers right as you touch the screen. So you're only going to see the text for a short period of time, but no matter how long you hold it, it will just show up and disappear because it only detects when you just touch it. So isTouched is just a text if you're currently touching a screen, and just_touched is if you have just touched it and not a second longer. So we've noticed that with desktop input, right, it's cool that we can detect input with all our buttons, but what if we just want to select one button? Well, and we just want a single input with one button, so we can just say, okay, if they just touched it and gdx.input.isButton pressed. Now we can just put buttons, and we're gonna say the right mouse button, right? So input the input class right there, and so if you press the right button and it's just touched, it's gonna show that. So let's just run this program, and I'm pressing the left mouse button right now, nothing's happening. The middle button, nothing's happening. Right button, it shows and then disappears, right? And we can get rid of this if we just want to just select to see if the right button is being continuously pressed. Just recompile it, hold the right mouse button, we see it. Any other button we press, it does not work. Now this is not meant for the Android device, because the Android device doesn't work off right, left and middle mouse buttons. It has screen touches, and depending on which finger that you touch the screen with, it will determine it will determine based on how many fingers you are, how many which finger you're using and which finger you're doing certain gestures. Sorry, I had to pause the video to check up on something quickly. But for Android input, it doesn't work like I just mentioned. It doesn't work with like right, left, and middle. It has to work with different touches and which finger that you've used. So how do we detect what finger or how many fingers we actually have on the screen? Well, we can say okay, if input is touched, we can select to see if finger 0, which is index 0, which is finger number 1, or if the second finger is touched, or if the third finger is touched, and so on and so forth, right? So we can check to see if a certain finger is on the screen or not. So let's just say we have 3 fingers, so 0, 1, and 2 are set, right? But we remove finger number 1. Then it frees index number 0. So then when we put on another finger on our, if we only have 2 fingers now, and then we put on another finger, that's going to be detected as input number 0. That's how it's going to work. So it's going to do the earliest available index. That's what it will set the new finger to. So by doing this, we can detect different inputs and and detect to see if different fingers are on your screen, how many fingers are on your screen, so on and so on. The same could be done for just touched. Whoa, sorry about that. No, sorry, just touched, it just detects if it is sorry about that. Just touch detects if it's just touch. So if you want to select single input for the Android device, you can say if it's just touched, and you can say if the input is touched and select a certain index. So we say, okay, if it's just touched and the index that is touched is 0, then, or that first finger, then you could do something with it. So that's how you can work with the Android device. Now, we're going to be making a little program right now, just to have some fun with this, right? To have some fun with some input. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to create, what are we going to create? Sorry, touch position. We're going to create a touch position and we're going to make a float called delta. And what we're gonna do in our program is we're gonna click somewhere on our screen, and based on where we click, we're gonna move our image there. So in the top of our render method, we are going to say, okay, if touch position, or actually before we even start that, I'm going to set touch position equal to a new vector, or else we're gonna get an error. So we're just gonna set to 0, 0. So we're going to say if touch position x is greater than position dot x, then we are going to say position dot x plus equals move speed times delta. Now what we're going to want to do is just set delta equal to get delta time, and you're not going to see any performance updates by doing this, right? It's not going to it's not going to increase performance, but always calling a method whenever you're getting delta time can be a hassle. And so instead of calling it each time in our if statements, because we're going to have 2 if statements that are going to be possibly be calling this at a time, might as well just call it once each update instead of twice each update. So it's just a little performance tweak or optimization tweak. And so we're going to say else if touch position sorry about that, touch position dot x is less than position dot x, I'm going to say position dot x minus equals move speed times delta. And we're just going to copy this, and we are just going to change the x to the y. Now normally I don't do this just because it can cause errors whenever you copy and paste something if you forget to change something, but it's something minor, so I don't mind doing it for this tutorial. Yeah, that's how it's gonna work. So we're just gonna say that if gdx.input just touched, then we are gonna set our touch position. So how do we set our touch position? Well, we're just gonna say touch position not set. We're gonna say gdx.input.getx. Sorry about that. We're gonna use the getx, and what getx is gonna do is it's gonna be the value of where we touch the screen or where we last touched the screen. So let's say you want to get the x position of a certain finger on the Android device. You can put the finger index in here, and we can get the x position of the certain finger that you clicked. But by default, it just checks for 0 when you do get x, so the index will automatically be the first finger that you put on. So we're just gonna say input.getY, and we're just gonna set the touch position like so. And you know what? We'll just put this above here, so as soon as we touch it, it will start moving instead of waiting a frame. And down here, we're just gonna draw our image again. So we're gonna say spray brush.draw. We're gonna draw our texture region, position X, position Y. And so if we run this program, let's see what we're gonna get. So it's gonna move to where I clicked it. And as you can see, it's kind of like jittery and it's moving up and down. Now why is that happening? Well, the problem is is that when I click it, yeah, it's moving. Its touch position is greater than position X, so position X is going to increase. But then position X is greater than touch position X, so it's saying subtract, and it's going back and forth, and so that's why you're getting this shaky feeling. So in order to get rid of that, in case you guys will care or want to do it, we're gonna say, okay, math dot absolute value touch position dot x subtract position dot x is less than, say, 5. It shouldn't be farther than a 5 range interval. It kind of depends on what your move speed was, but for this program it's about less than 5. So what absolute value does is just say like touch position was 90 and position X was equal to 100. 90 subtract 100 is -10. Absolute value will just remove the actual sign and just return the value 10. So even if this is 100 subtract 90 or 90 subtract 100, they'll both be the same value. So I'm just going to say if the value that we get when we subtract it is less than 5, that means we're just going to set position dot x equal to touch position dot x. And I'm going to put an if statement and do the same thing with the y. So if touch position dot y is less than position dot y and it's less than 5, we're going to say position equals to touch position dot y. And when we run this program and we click a position, voila, it doesn't do the shakiness anymore. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And if you would like my Facebook fan page, follow me on Twitter, and feel free to add me on Steam and BBM. And if you like my content, don't be afraid to donate, and all the links and information is in the description below. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.